Here are 50 new and free VR games you can play immediately on your Oculus Quest 2 device. Some of these might be demos, others might be free under some circumstances, but all these games can be found on APPLAB and SIDEQUEST right now and are absolutely free with links in the description. So let's get to it. Oh wait, hang on a minute, I can't see properly. I'm gonna have to buy some prescription lenses from today's sponsor, VRWave. VRWave make incredible prescription lenses for the Quest 2 and other popular VR headsets. You can have them to correct nearsightedness and astigmatism, or even get them to filter out blue light to reduce eye strain. The best part about it is that they offer worldwide shipping, so no matter where you are, you can take advantage of their amazing product. Head to www.vr-wave.store or head down in the description where I'll put a link. So first on our list then is Population 1. Now I know Population 1 isn't a new game, but the developers announced recently that the game will go free to play on March 9th, 2023 on the Meta Quest 2. That means you can play the popular VR Battle Royale game for absolutely free on March 9th, and that's why I think it deserves a mention as a free game on this list. Next up we have Her Aspera VR. It's a planetary simulation game that takes you on a journey through space. You play as Amy, an artificial consciousness with a goal of terraforming Mars for human colonization. This game combines hard science fiction and base building to create an experience that is out of this world, literally. Next up we have Frupu VR Fruit Punch. Similar to the game Fruit Ninja, where you must dodge fruit thrown by Monster Moo and punch it at the right time to avoid it exploding in your face. Think of Fruit Ninja with added explosives. Now this game has been updated to include a more immersive user interface and new animation for body hits, but if you're a fan of this kind of game, it could be worth checking out for free. Next up is VR Sandbox 2. Now for those who are looking for a more creative experience, we have VR Sandbox 2. This game does exactly what it says on the tin. It gives you a sandbox in VR. Now it's still in early development, but at present you only have a bat and ball, with the goal of being to interact with both using the game's physics. There isn't much else to say, so straight on to the next one, which is Fun Chat. Now for those who are looking to connect with others, we have Fun Chat, which is a social app that's main goal is to help users find the right players and quickly team up to play games together. This app makes it easy to find the right players and start playing games together, or you could just chill out and meet new friends along the way. Next up is Grief VR. Now this one is more of a tool and less of a game, but is aimed towards helping people cope with the grief of losing a loved one. This VR experience includes 4 different worlds to explore, including an archery range, a painting room, a meditation beach, and a rage room. The order of the rooms will depend on how you were feeling at that moment in time, and you could switch rooms at any time. This could be handy for those trying to cope with those tragic situations. Now for those who are looking for another metaverse kind of experience, we have Metalityverse, a virtual universe that allows you to create your own avatar and become whoever you want to be. Now it has AI avatar creation and customizability. You have the power to lead meta conferences, build new relationships, and expand your business in the virtual world that benefits the real world economic landscape. This is one of many new metaverses that seem to be cropping up, guys, and this one is free to use today. Next up is Deadly Penguins. Now this is for those who are looking for a more surreal action-packed experience. This game pitches you against, you guessed it, deadly penguins in VR. Now this is a shooting game set in an Arctic base where you must defend your dog from hordes of zombie penguins while using an arsenal of weapons to defeat your enemies. Now this game is on itch.io and is a name your own price game, so you can play it for free, but always be sure to support the developers like I always say. Now for those who are looking for a more musical experience or looking for an easy way to make music, we have this game called Finger Jam. It is the world's easiest musical instrument that uses hand tracking as a tool in which to play the music. Now with Finger Jam you can play music in a matter of seconds without any years of practice. Just grip your fingers, move your hands around, and let your own flow guide you. This could be a good free way for you to experience the hand tracking that the Oculus Quest 2 has to offer and making some music at the same time. Next up is Walk Around Planes. Now for those of you who are interested in aviation, we have a free VR game called Walk Around Planes. It's an exploration game that allows you to walk around planes. This is a simple and easy to play experience that, while in still early development, does exactly what it says it does, but doesn't offer us anything else to talk about in this video, so on to the next one. And our next one is a Royal Heist. Now for those who are looking for a driving based experience, we have a Royal Heist, a game in which you must escape the Royal Guard after stealing the Queen's jewel encrusted body. For some reason, drive, skid and drift your way through a poor recreation of London and escape to the motorway to succeed. It has a working radio, driving mechanics, a storyline and some hidden Easter eggs, And if you need a break from the fast-paced action, the game offers both a comfort and drifter option for driving. Just remember that the game was made for a university project by the developer, so take everything with a pinch of salt. Next, we have Super Mega Mini Golf. This game is a fun and engaging game where you can play with friends and create your own courses. That is the unique selling point of this experience. You can join lobbies using the keyboard and enjoy playing mini golf with others. This game is still in early alpha release stage though, so it's still very early days. Next up, we have Liberation Army VR. This is a first-person shooter based on the armed forces for the liberation of South Vietnam. The game is a very basic first-person shooter set in the forest with some cutscenes included, but there isn't much else to say about it at this moment other than it's very early days and it's very basic. So let's just get on to the next one, which is... Next, we have Monkey See, Monkey Doo Doo VR. In this fast-paced multiplayer adventure, you swing through the floating jungles of the Bermuda Triangle as you race against other players to collect bananas. The objective is to trade the bananas for monkey merchandise. You can fling doo-doo at other players to steal their bananas and send them plummeting to the croc below. This game is hyper colourful and really stands out as a decent-looking competitor for Gorilla Tag, and is also free to play. Next up is Wolfenstein VR. Now, Wolfenstein 3D is known as the grandfather of modern first-person shooters, and this VR version brings Wolfenstein to modern headsets. Now, modern virtual reality technology allows us to step inside the castle once again and enjoy this tribute to what some people call one of the greatest games ever made. For me, it's good to see the Quest is being used to bring classic titles back to modern audiences. Next up, we have the Black Forge demo. In this game, your goal is to become the greatest weaponsmith of all time in a vibrant fantasy world. You get to amass a wide variety of tools, materials, and magical items to create ever more powerful and beautiful weaponry. You can send legendary adventurers on quests and gain reputation and rewards in return. The best thing about this game is that the mechanics are procedurally generated, so there's always something different to do. Next up is Zombied VR. Now, Zombied VR is another free-to-play zombie wave shooter where you must kill the zombies in order to get more weapons and magazines, so you can go on to kill more zombies and get more weapons and magazines. That's really it, so on to the next one, which is... Next up is Rhythm Boom Demo. Now, Rhythm Boom is a VR rhythm game where you can use a U2 player to move and dance in a rhythm game built around browsing and playing custom songs. You can browse and play countless levels built by the community, move with the music by shattering walls, following waves, slashing notes, and avoiding fireballs. There are a ton of features planned like leaderboards and multiplayer, but this could be a fun game to play if you were a fan of titles like Beat Saber. Next up is the VRNOID Demo. Now, VRNOID takes the spirit of retro arcade games and merges it with virtual reality. Destroy all the bricks to complete a level and collect extra lives, power-ups, and stars to reach the high score. Instead of using the paddle, swing the striker just like in air hockey while enjoying retro wave music and beating tons of levels and boss fights. Also features bullet dodging and bullet reflection. As enemies are trying to shoot your VR head, you can dodge bullets and reflect them onto the enemy. The game has 8 gameplay modifiers and 5 game difficulties to play with. Next up is the Sail Demo. Now, unleash your inner pirate in the game Sail, the open world VR pirate game. Embark on voyages to collect as much treasure as possible and bring it back to your pirate hideout. But beware, you're not the only pirate seeking fortune on the seas. Battle pirate enemies on land with your weapons or on the seas using your ship's cannons and voice commands. Use your riches to upgrade your weapons and ships with an open world filled with treasure, mysterious islands, and endless possibility. Next up is Premortal VR. Now, Premortal VR places you in a procedurally generated world full of exploration and survival. You must gather resources, craft weapons and armor, build villages and castles, all set in a vast and unique world. The game sets out to offer a challenging and fun experience, and as it's free, it costs nothing to play and find out what this game's about. Next up is Meditation Hidden Objects Egypt VR. Now, escape to ancient Egypt and enjoy a hidden object game that offers a unique blend of relaxation and mental exercise. You can immerse yourself in the sight and sound of the environment as you listen to calming music and engage in mindfulness exercises. With many environments to explore, this game is perfect for players looking to unwind and challenge their minds at the same time. Next up is T-Lab Basketball VR. Now, this game is a simple and fun basketball game on your quest to simply throw the ball, score in the net, and compete against other players in the ranking. That's it for this one. Let's get on to the next one. Next up is Just Shoot. Just Shoot is a simple shooter game that pits you against different enemies while shooting targets in a city. But be careful because there are innocent civilians around. A simple shooting game made with unique levels. This is a passion project made by a very small team, but it's free to play today on your MetaQuest 2. Next up is TrailBouncer VR. TrailBouncer VR allows you to race through mythical environments at lightning speed in this fast-paced VR racing game. Master the challenging environments and push your skills and reflexes to the limit. Use power-ups to your advantage and strive to achieve the highest rank among your fellow players. This game looks absolutely great, and it looks like you're carrying around a Kamehameha at times, which is hilarious, but it is free to check out today. Next on our list then is Superhero Sandbox. Play as a flyer or a speedster in Superhero Sandbox, a VR game that lets you fly or speed around on a sandbox map. Obviously, the game is still in early development and has a name your own price tag attached to it via itch.io, but you can play online or offline to become the superhero you've always wanted to be. Next up is Animal Anatomy. Animal Anatomy is a standalone experience that allows players to learn about animal anatomy through open exploration of anatomically accurate, multi-layered digital replica of animals. In this initial release, 2 animals will be included, a dog and a bison. The experience also features an interactive quiz which assesses the player's knowledge of the anatomy of said animal. Players are given feedback on the quiz in real time and can learn through repetition as the questions in the quiz randomize each time it is taken. Next up then is Breachers. Now Breachers is an upcoming 5v5 tactical VR first person shooter where you must climb, vault, shoot and strategize your way to victory. The game very much looks like a VR version of the Rainbow Six Siege games where you must outsmart the enemy by trying out different tactics, experimenting with different weapons and gadgets and communicating with your teammates and breach into rooms like the title implies. In the game you can buy and customize weaponry, whether it's pistols, SMG, shotguns or assault rifles, or you can purchase gadgets and grenades in order to make the lives of your enemy a little bit harder. So while the game can be pre-ordered from the Oculus store for $22.99, the pre-release version can be installed to your device using SIDEQUEST for free. This game actually looks really clean for a free game, so it could definitely be worth checking out today. Next up is Childcare Safety. Now I'm not exactly sure who this is for, but for this standalone experience you must identify hazards in a childcare setting. You must move freely around the childcare centre while using a hazard camera to identify potentially dangerous toys and items, then collect and sort them out to determine if they are broken, dirty or safe to return to the play area. Like I said, I'm not sure who this is for, but on to the next one. Next up is Explosive Power Tool Safety. Explosive Power Tool Safety teaches players how to safely operate an explosive power tool. Players are guided through the procedures required to correctly use an EPT to fix a wooden beam to a concrete wall. I also noticed that another free game released at the same time was PPE and Plumbing Safety, all of which are aimed towards tradesmen in training and are made by the same developer. Next up then is the Broken Spectre demo. Now Broken Spectre is a hand tracking based cosmic horror narrative adventure game developed in collaboration with the makers of the Blair Witch Project. After a cryptic message left by her father takes Casey back to the abandoned trails of the Cold Blood Mountain, a remote wilderness that has haunted her family for generations, users must follow the trail and solve the mystery. Next up is Explain Chemistry. Now Explain Chemistry is a learning tool for children and adults alike where you immerse yourself in a virtual chemistry lab and discover the properties of everyday compounds through interactive simulations and games. A virtual teacher is always here to guide you through the ideas and concepts, and you will know everything about chemistry in no time. You can learn about the periodic table, conduct experiments and observe the results of your actions in a safe and engaging environment. Next up is Dart Racer VR. Dart Racer VR is an arcade racing game that looks a lot like the old Star Wars pod racing games, where you must compete against AI and other players on the online leaderboards. The game features multiple racetracks and environments. It has an interactive tutorial, customizable game and comfort settings, with optional hand tracking to immerse you into the experience. Next up then is Joy Flight. Now Joy Flight is an open world arcade VR flight game where players will explore, unlock runways with daring landings and complete missions across a large chain of islands. The game has motion controls where you can turn on the engine, crank the throttle and grab the flight stick using your VR hands. It features an open world where you can explore an expansive island with 29 distinct island runways to unlock. It has dynamic weather systems where you can skirt the waves, dodge lightning and enjoy the rain as you fly through the storm. You can fly around the world with no limits, explore the clouds and beyond, customize your aircraft by choosing your own color scheme and fly 3 different light aircraft. If you want as well, you can also do submissions and pick up passengers. It's entirely up to you. Next up is Lady Roots. Lady Roots is a free VR maze oriented game where you must make it to the center and destroy the mother of all trees. You have some weaponry and you can interact with some plants, but that's really it, so on to the next one. Next up is the New York City Mixed Reality Demo. Now this isn't so much of a game but a demonstration of Terra Unity's city generation and streaming solution, where you can fly a helicopter over the city of Manhattan and see what sights the city has to offer. There isn't much else to say on this, so on to the next one. Next up is Dodge VR. Now, the one thing I always say about VR games is that the majority of them are named after exactly what you do in the game, and this is no different. Dodge VR is a simplistic title where you have to dodge the colored cubes and avoid them hitting the area where your headset is located. If they do hit the area, you're out of the game. So next up then is the Forbidden City. This is a VR tour game based off of real pictures. The game has a kitten NPC which will act as a guide to introduce players to various scenes in the Forbidden City. There are also some minigames designed and based around historical events. Through which players can have a better understanding of the cultural knowledge of the Forbidden City and Chinese culture. Next up is Hex VR. Now, born out of the Echo Arena community, Hex VR is a collection of multiplayer VR minigames based around the concept of zero gravity. There are games that you can play with friends online or on your own private servers, and the version currently released is just a test, but the developer says they are hard working on building the game. Next up is Horizon VR. This is a short, symmetrical, cooperative exploration game where one player takes control of a large being who can interact with the environment, and another player takes control of a regular-sized being who can solve puzzles on the ground. The goal of this is to find pieces of a crystal and return it to the base. Next up is Portal's Rebirth. Now, Portal's Rebirth is a student prototype where the only movement is physically walking around. You must use a 5x3 meter boundary, and you start by positioning yourself in the corner of your boundary facing the opposite corner on the far right. The premise is a little grim and it's only a prototype and isn't particularly long, but it is free. Next up is Sunset Station. Now, Sunset Station is a multiplayer life simulator where you can build your neighborhood and your home on your own or up to 3 friends. The game has a lot of secret areas where you and your friends can explore, and you can mine resources to buy upgrades, pick fruit and vegetables, or even see some sharks. It's up to you. Now, next up on our list is The Fog. Now, The Fog is another undead wave shooter where you must take out zombies, aliens, ghosts and monsters and many other creatures as they try to eat you. You must shoot them with your pistols and power up after every wave. Now, this is the type of game we have seen a lot of, so on to the next game. Next up is Turn Back the Clock Sinchu. This game places Taiwan as the main stage. Players can experience historical time and space changes of Sinchu while playing. The story will revolve around a historian and an agent of the Time and Space Security Agency. Players can alternately play their roles to be played according to the progress of the plot and experience the same script from different perspectives as a starting point through different perspectives. Next up is Undefeated Samurai. Now, Undefeated Samurai is a multiplayer VR role-playing game that combines a VR experience with NFT technology. How? Well, I'm not 100% sure about that, but that's what this game is meant to do. Additionally, the Undefeated Samurai metaverse is where players can socialize and play the game to try and survive. Next up is Robot Kyle. Now, this VR game is basically another Gorilla Tag knockoff where you play as a robot named Kyle and you can be social with friends and travel to different kinds of maps like a horror one, a pool one, a city map and a forest map. There are also said to be cosmetics to use in game too, but as I said, it is just another Gorilla Tag knockoff. Next up is Wednesday VR. Now, this isn't really a game or a tool, but just something somebody made in order to put Wednesday in a VR game. All you can do here is look in the mirror as Wednesday Addams and move your hands by using either the controllers or the MetaQuest 2's hand tracking. Now, the description does say that loads is meant to be coming for this title, including a story mode and multiplayer, along with a dance mode too, so we'll wait and see. Next up is Yoga VR. Now, Yoga VR sets out to be the ultimate yoga experience, now available in virtual reality. The Yoga VR app says it's the perfect way to experience the benefits of yoga from the comfort of your own home. Whether you're a seasoned yogi, yes, that's a word, or you're just starting out, the app aims to provide everything you need to practice yoga and achieve a more mindful state of mind, including voice commands to help you along with the experience. Next up is VRFS Football Simulator. Now, this is a football simulator, or if you want to be wrong, soccer, where the focus is on physics simulation, where a player can perform almost any trick from balancing a ball on the tip of the foot to executing curved power shots and long passes. The ball's trajectory is solely determined by the physics engine. It has competitive online modes, free-for-all, so if you're a fan of football, this could be quite a good VR game for you to play. Next up is the Zosu Zoo Demo. Now, this game is meant to be a relaxing, simple zoo experience with 40 plus land animals to see, along with 100 sea creatures that may spawn randomly during each playthrough. Now, at present, a fence blocks some of the animals as it's currently just a demo, but in the full game you should be able to access all the animals by being able to climb over the fences in game. And next up is to check the screen for more free VR games. Bye bye for now.